Hey guys, it's Bebop here. So, I'm making this video because I know when I started streaming that I had a really hard time finding all the right settings, all the tweaks, everything I could to make my stream look better and sound better. So, I'm just making this to help everyone that had the same problem as me and just to make it a little easier for people. So, I'm sure you guys are already familiar with OBS, so I'm just going to go through the settings. I'm going to go ahead and go to File. I'm going to go to Stream. You can go ahead and connect whatever service you're using, Twitch, Mixer, any of that. Next is the big part, Output. So you're going to see Encoder, and a lot of people might not know what this is and what's the difference exactly. So you're going to see X264. You're probably going to see NVIDIA if you have a NVIDIA graphics card, or you're going to see AMD. So the difference between X264 and NVIDIA and AMD is X264 is going to use your CPU to do the encoding, and this is most likely pretty good if you have a good CPU. So you have like a 6 core 12 thread, 8 core 16 thread. If you have a good CPU, you're most likely going to want to use X264. It gives a little better quality than the NVIDIA or AMD. So next, you're gonna see NVIDIA. I can't change it right now because I'm recording, but you're gonna see two options. You're gonna see NVIDIA and NVIDIA New. Never use the old one anymore. It's kind of outdated. Always use New. It just gives better results and lowers GPU usage. So. And the last one is going to be AMD. So AMD, never use AMD. Their encoders are bad on their graphics card. Trust me, I've had AMD cards before. NVIDIA cards just have a dedicated encoder in them, so that helps a lot. So most of the time, it's just going to be between X264 and NVIDIA New. So the difference between these two and when you want to use them is actually I have a link that I'll put up on the screen, but we're gonna go ahead and open up hardware info. You can do sensors only, run. And what this pretty much is gonna do is this is gonna tell you when you're playing a game, it's good to have it open in a window to the side, how much of your GPU and how much of your CPU, all that good stuff is being used by the game. So it's gonna look like this. You're gonna see core clock, and it's a lot to look through, I know, but what you're looking for is you are looking for CPU usage around here somewhere, total CPU usage, and you're also looking for GPU usage. Where is it? Well, there's a lot of these, but GPU core load, that's pretty much what you're going to be using. So as you have your game testing, this is the testing phase. So as you have your game on your main window and you're playing it, you want to have this on the side, and you want to see how much, where'd it go? You want to see how much of your GPU you're using your GPU you're using and your CPU you're using. So this is gonna help increase your frames by a lot when you're gaming and you're streaming. So if you find that you're using more GPU in all your games instead of your CPU usage is really low. Again, that's going to be right here, CPU usage. If you find that this is really low, you're going to want to use NVIDIA New. That way you're not, wait, did I say that the opposite? If your CPU usage is low, you want to use the X264 encoder. You want to make use of it. If your GPU usage is high, you want to use this as well. That's probably the same thing. If you find that your CPU usage is high, games like Battlefield, Overwatch, any of that, anything that mostly esports related, because you want to get the highest FPS you can. Usually, like for me, I go for 144. Some people might have a 60 hertz monitor, so it's not gonna matter too much. But you want to go for whatever hardware you're using less of. If you find that you're using, you're trying to play Witcher 3 at max settings, you're gonna want to use .x264. So Twitch always recommends using CBR, which is I think it's controlled bitrate. That's gonna mean that your bitrate is gonna stay the same. It's gonna fluctuate a little bit, maybe like 200 to 300, depending on what you have open or just in general. But you don't want your bitrate to vary. So bitrate is pretty much how much information is displayed to each bit. So you don't want that going down, or else it'll cause blocky artifacts in your stream. For example, when you're moving really fast, high-paced shooting games, your bitrate doesn't need to be that high. If you're playing something like League of Legends, Teamfight Tactics, anything that's really slow. So we're going to set this to control bitrate, and the bitrate is going to differ depending on what resolution, how many frames you're using. So let's say, for example, typically most people use 720p 60 FPS for their stream, which is good. Any higher and it's gonna put a bigger load on your system and make it harder for people to watch, especially if you're not an affiliate or partner on Twitch. They're gonna be made to watch it at 60 frames, 720p, or whatever you have it at. So for 720p 60, a good starting point is around 3500. You can go up to 5000 if you're using if you're playing like an FPS game. You're going to want to set keyframe interval to 2, and depending on how much CPU usage, this is going to vary. So you never want to go below medium, and you never want to go ultra fast for the most part. Slower than medium isn't going to do much. This basically it's saying it takes more time to draw that frame. That's not really important. Most people just stay very fast, or you're going to go down to faster. So the next one is we're going to do profile. So if your bitrate is above 4000, you mostly want to do high. Don't ask me how this works. I just know that it produces better results. It doesn't make a huge difference whatsoever anyway. Okay, so we're going to go, I think that covers everything in there. So we're going to skip to video. So the base canvas resolution in OBS is what your monitor is. I have a 1440p monitor, so I set this to 1440. Your output is going to be what you are streaming at. So if most people are going to have a 1080p monitor, and they're going to want to change their output scaled resolution to 720p. You're going to see downscale filter. There's going to be 3 options: bilinear, I can't remember the other one, and Landscose, however you pronounce that. This is just the best one. It's just GPU sharpening. It's a better formula. Next one we're gonna see is FPS values. So what you're gonna want to stream FPS wise at. A lot of the time people will do 30 or 60. There is a 48 option. It's good right in the middle if you're lacking on CPU power or GPU power. I would say it's a good in between for FPS, because it's hard to notice the difference between 48 and 60, but most of the time people just go 720p 60, so it's not a problem. Okay, so now that we've covered that, the next thing is I'm gonna have this linked in the description, probably on the screen. So there's this app called Twitch Test. This is very important. A lot of people don't even know what this is, but what it pretty much does is it tests your upload speed, which is the most important factor in streaming. So you want to have a stable upload speed in order you don't drop frames. A lot of the times people will see dropped frames down here. You can't see it right now because I'm streaming, but it'll say dropped frames or skipped frames, one of those. And that's because their upload speed isn't consistent. A lot of times if you're running Wi-Fi, it's not going to be consistent. Or if you actually have network problems, even if you're using a LAN cable. So make sure you have that LAN cable. If not, set your Wi-Fi card to 5 gigahertz. Helps with stability and not as much interference going around. But a lot of the time, people will have all their settings perfect: 720p, 60, not too high bit rate, CPU and GPU usage is fine, but their network is the issue. And for me, for a long time, I was going through this issue where everything was perfect. I was running a cable for LAN. I called my internet provider and they said it's fine. You're going to enter your stream key, select your region. You don't have to do all of these, just do, I would say, 2 to 3. For me, I'm going to do San Jose, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. We're going to do a 10-second test. Usually you go longer, 30 seconds, 1 minute. And just for this, I'm going to do a short one. And my upload speed is 10 megabit, which is 10,000 kilobits. It looks like mine's pretty low right now, actually. But what you're looking for is the quality. If your internet is really bad like I was, mostly Cox provider, this will be at 0. The higher it is, the better. Preferably you want it to be at 100, in the 90s, somewhere in between then. And from there, you won't have any network problems. So we're gonna go, we got 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. So this is the max bit rate you can put on your stream. Twitch only allows up to 8,000, but if you wanted to, for some reason, you could put 10,000. So that's it. That was just a overview of all the settings. The network problem or the network fix, or I don't know what to say for that, but Twitch Test is a great app. If you're having stream problems, make sure to use it. Follow this guide, and if you have any questions, comment down below and I'll do some more videos like this. Thanks.